Tonight, the president set to reveal his choice to fill the seat vacated on the U.S. Supreme Court, vacated in the wake of the death of the late Justice Antonin Scalia. Former President Barack Obama nominated Merrick Garland, but the Republican majority prevented his confirmation, leaving a space open for the next president, Donald Trump, to make the choice. There are 3 federal appeals court judges being considered: Neil Gorsuch, Thomas Hardiman, and William Pryor. Director of UNF's pre-law program, Adrian Lerner, joins us here on The Morning Show. Good morning. Good to have you here. Before we get to the candidates, it is incumbent on the president to focus like a laser, in this case, on judicial philosophy.
Yes, and because Trump wants a conservative, he will be looking for a judicial philosophy that is textualist and originalist and adheres closely to the words of the Constitution and the Constitution as the justices perceived that the framers intended it at the time it was drafted. And so if we're looking for a model for Scalia, that's the judicial philosophy President Trump would be looking for.
You use 2 adjectives, textualist, originalist. That makes Neil Gorsuch very much like Justice Scalia because he's been described that very way. How do you see him as a choice?
I see Gorsuch as an excellent choice, especially if you're looking for an Antonin Scalia replacement. His judicial philosophy is very similar. He's a scholar. He's very well respected by law professors, by lawyers, by fellow judges on the bench as an author of scholarly opinions, much in the way that Scalia was.
And Judge Hardiman's a little bit out of that mold as well. But when you look at his background, he's weighed in on a number of cases across the legal spectrum, but nothing that really would seem to inflame the political base.
Both are what we like to say as we watch the Supreme Court, highly confirmable. Out of all of the list of 21 that Trump initially floated from the Heritage Foundation, and then he talked a lot about William Pryor and Diane Sykes on the campaign trail, but it seems that now the focus is on Gorsuch and Hardiman because they are more likely to be confirmed and Democrats are less likely to filibuster them because they are both scholarly, they are both very well respected, as are Pryor and Sykes, but fewer opinions and public statements that might come out in a Senate hearing.
What would Antonin Scalia say?
It is very hard to predict what Antonin Scalia would say, and whatever he would have said would have been funnier and probably more scholarly than I could guess. I would think he would want maybe either Hardiman or Gorsuch. They are very, very bright and very scholarly, both. Gorsuch, more in the model of Antonin Scalia, Ivy League educated, rose through the justice system. His mother was the head of the EPA at one time. Hardiman, bit of an outsider, worked his way through law school, drove a taxi cab. So it will depend on what President Trump is prioritizing in the background of the justice as well.
And I think that the American public needs to understand that this choice is so important because this person will leave a Trumpian imprint on the court for a generation.
Certainly, and this may not be President Trump's only Supreme Court pick as well. So we could be looking not just at Trump's one-shot impression at the court, but perhaps the first impression on the court. And yeah, for a generation to come, which is why presidents are increasingly picking younger candidates, which tends to favor a Gorsuch or a Hardiman as well.
Yeah, and I think all 3 of the candidates whose names we mentioned are under the age of 55. Let me go back to Merrick Garland, who was President Obama's choice. He did not get a chance to even go before the Senate Confirmation Committee. The Democrats sit back right now and they say, you know what? We may hold this up. We may filibuster. Is that just political talk, or is that something that could really happen and be a reality?
It could really happen. I think there's a significant political backlash and anger about the long vacancy of the Supreme Court since Antonin Scalia's death, and about how Merrick Garland was treated as a nominee. The constitutional requirement on the Senate is to advise and consent. The argument was that they advised by not doing anything. The counter to that would be that maybe Garland should have had a hearing, at least in front of the Judiciary Committee, and probably a full Senate hearing as well. I think there's a lot of anger there among Democratic politicians that saw a nominee and a Supreme Court that should have been, theirs, taken away. And I think you could see a filibuster. I think if you go with some of these more scholarly candidates, that's less likely to happen than if, say, for some reason it's William Pryor is the nominee, who's had very public statements on some hot-button political
Use the word
issues.
anger. Anger seems to fuel so much of what's happening on Capitol Hill these days. Watch President Trump make the announcement live at 8 o'clock on air and on newsforjax.com. And make sure you have our News for Jax app, because once the announcement is made official, we'll send out our push alerts. So if you're not near your TV, you'll know who the next Supreme Court nominee happens to be. Jen?